Welcome to another episode of Stack and Scale. I'm Brandon Resinger, and today I had an awesome conversation with Jeff Ignacio. And I've known Jeff for a long time, and I followed a lot of his work in the RevOps space. But there's no surprise, he's actually turned his attention to AI and AI ops. And Jeff is one of those guys who's not just one of those theoretical thought leaders where he says things, pie in the sky and gives you a lot of these big promises. He's actually one that's in the weeds, that's actually doing the work, and he's really good at actually teaching a lot of this stuff. So I was really happy to have him on the show, and we walk through an actual use of how he uses Zapier to build his own personal AI agent. I know we've had a bunch of different tools where we show builds in tools like N8N, and we had one with Lindy and Retool. But what I like about Zapier is it's probably the most accessible and going to be the most easy for you to pick up and build something today that's actually usable. And Jeff walks us through exactly how to do it and how he built his own personal AI assistant. And I think you're going to get a lot out of this episode. So I'm excited to dive in. I'm excited to show you my conversation with Jeff. So without further ado, here it is. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hey, Brandon, how's it going? It's good. Always good to see you.
Yeah, you too, man. I'm really excited to dive in today because you're one of those who I turn to frequently for marketing and more the technical side of, used to be RevOps and now I know you're neck deep in the AI stuff as well. So really excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, super exciting. I feel like the journey with AI has been fun. There'll probably be a whole new AI operations profession emerging from that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, super cool.
Cool. Well, tell us what you're going to show the audience today.
Yeah, today I'm going to walk through a very basic agent built out of Zapier. And so you can build agents in a lot of these different automation tools out there, but I use Zapier just because it's probably the easiest from a UX UI perspective. And again, you can build AI embedded workflows, but what I'm going to show you is an agent. An agent, you're giving them like a persona, a role, a task. The agent itself decides what are the right next steps, takes a path, and then ultimately comes out with the outputs you're looking for. And then over time, you can actually refine the scope of the agent and how it goes about it by giving it feedback, and then also retooling it going forward. So I'm happy to walk through that with your audience today.
Yeah, I love it. And I know probably a lot of this audience knows Zapier from years ago. Honestly, I used it years ago for just simple APIs, right? And webhooks, and now it feels like they're making a kind of a, well, I don't know if they ever went away, but they're just coming on stronger than ever in the AI space, right?
Yeah, they were like a huge RPA software, right? Like remote process automation, if this then that, right? Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
if this then that. I think it was really big with like IoT type devices. Not necessarily Zapier, but if this and that was really big with IoT.
yeah, exactly.
Zapier went the B2B app route. With the APIs, it's unleashed. APIs was like the first era of their ability to connect. And then they've started to move towards the world of adding in LLMs and agentic bots in the middle of it. And that's really kind of turbocharged their offering.
Cool. Very good. Well, I know we've had previous episodes where people have built stuff in N8N, and I got feedback that this is really cool, but a little too complex. I don't have time to learn N8N. So hopefully this is going to be a little bit easier for people to pick up and walk away with something they can start using today.
Yeah, I'll build in all of that. N8N, Make, Zapier. There's a couple of Puzzle. There's Relay.
Oh, I don't know Puzzle.
There's a ton of different apps out there. But I think for the uninitiated who want to get started, right? Like, let's say you don't have any coding skills. No code is like Zapier's MO. It's just a few clicks, and I think that's handy. I do get a little bit more sophisticated with it. Like I will write Python and add coding steps inside of Zapier just to cut down my cost. There's a number of different things that you could do if you wanted to. Then you can also embed their tables feature, which gives you a mini database from which to work with. So you could also use tables. You could also use interfaces. You could also build chatbots. There's a ton of stuff. Not to be like a commercial for them, but
sure.
Happy to help. At least tell your audience there's a lot that you can build, but let's just start slowly.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, it sounds good. Yeah, if you're ready, let's dive in.
All right, cool. So let me find the share button.
Cool.
And what you're looking at here is the Zapier Agents component of Zapier. And I can walk your audience how to get here. So let's say you do have Zapier, and it's not working, but let's just keep it here. So let's say create an agent, and if you wanted to create a new one, you would just click new, and then you're going to see that there are different templates, and these templates are really nice because someone's already thought of the most common scenarios from which you might build your agent. And you can see they're actually catering it to my persona, because when you sign up for Zapier, you tell them a little bit about you, and they know that I work in go-to-market, supporting sales and marketing. So you can see all these templates are around call follow-up, lead generation
Mm,
research. Now, if you had a different persona, they might have different recommendations for you, which is,
I see.
I think, really cool that they're focusing on these different verticals or functions within companies.
Yep.
And so here I have a couple of agents that I've already built, but I have one that I use daily, and that is the executive assistant. So I'll walk you through an already built agent, and you can see that it has a couple of features that stand out. One is the configuration, which I'm happy to walk through in detail, and then the activity. The activity is going to be like a console log that allows you to audit how well the agent is running from day to day. So here I've given it a trigger,
Wait,
and there's a number.
did
Oh, yeah.
you click on one of the pre-built ones, or did you click on one of yours that you already built?
Oh, no, I built this from scratch.
You built this for okay, okay, got it.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
A little bit of, using some prompting to get this to be, squared away.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
you have to start somewhere. And so I
Yep.
typically write prompts with giving the agent a purpose. Like, what's your purpose? What do you do? So imagine you have like an entry level employee or an intern, for a summer intern. They're only going to do like one thing over the course of the summer. So you give them that task. This is your role. Then you want to give them context. So in this case, this agent is supposed to be my executive assistant to help me on a daily basis. Like,
Yeah, so you're giving it access. Actually, scroll back up real quick. So you're giving it access to your email, to your calendar, to Zoom, Slack, and then Asana. Okay, got it.
yes, yes. Now the whole read is the whole thing is I needed to have a way to get data and then mine through that data and then autonomously decide what the right next steps are going to be. So in this case, the data sources are transcription or recordings of meetings that I've been a part of. Also, the emails that I'm going back and forth with different prospects or customers of mine. And then the Asana task board is where I put my task for all my projects. So
So you're
instead of
having to add actions to your task board in Asana.
yes, that's right. So like, let's review these one by one. So
Okay.
first one is review yesterday's events on these calendars and my emails, right? Now I have a tool called Otter.ai, and
Mm,
after every call, Otter sends me a meeting summary, and the meeting summary is pretty detailed. And so I ask it to look specifically for emails with the subject line meeting summary for, right?
mm.
So looks for all those emails, which will come from Otter. Um, and that's because I don't have access to the URLs. Like, Otter doesn't have an API that I can work with.
I see. Oh, so this is a good way around that. Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's a workaround. Then I'm asking it to identify an email that needs to be responded to, and then read the relevant emails and calendar attendees to identify next steps. Actually, I have a little bit of redundancy in these words, so that's something I can fix. Read the transcript and said calendar from Zoom. And then I want it to draft action items for me and send it to me in Slack as a DM in my own personal Slack. And that way every day I get a ping around 9 a.m. that shows me, hey, Jeff, these are your action items. And then it goes ahead and creates a task inside of Asana for me.
Nice.
Now, I think some folks can debate, your role context could be at the very top because, these bots tend to read left to right, up to down. So I could put role context up at the top. That's certainly an adjustment I can make. But here, I'm telling it you're an EA who manages a newsletter. You have access to my calendar, transcripts, and emails, and you understand my service offerings. And you can give it context on what your service offerings are, um, and then email guidelines.
Oh, nice.
This is
Okay.
very important. So tonality, the words it uses. So here I'm asking it to be concise. to be clear, relevant service information, so tailored to my offering, tailor to the clients based on what they need, build positive relationships. So it's going to use this as a guide for its
Sure.
language.
Yeah.
Now I still use a human in the loop, meaning that I will go in and um, have it reviewed before I hit send, right?
Ah.
Because it is very
Does it create it as a draft then for you?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll walk through that, right?
Okay,
When
cool.
you have agents, you needed to give it data sources or the vector database or access to information. I'm not building a vector database here. Here you're looking at access to my actual email, and then the actions that it can take. These are what I call tools. So folks who build an NAN, they're adding tools to their agent. You're doing the
Mhm.
same thing here. Here, let's go straight down to the actions. So I give it all these actions. These are things that the agent can do as the capability. And you can see that these are methods of the API classes, of the classes inside of each of these different tools. So if you were, a developer, you could build all of this yourself writing code, because you know how to operate within, all the different classes and methods of these APIs. But in this case, it's very simple. I'm not doing any coding here. It's just selecting
Nice.
the application you want and then picking the capability or the method that you want. And so you see here, I have send for Slack. But for Gmail, I don't want the email sent out on my behalf. I have create draft instead.
Ah, got it. Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
actually, real quick, add tools. Do we need to go connect our tools first before we do all this, or while we're building it, can we come up? Oh, yeah, it looks like we can say hit add tool.
Yeah, you can hit add tool here. So you can see my account's been disconnected. So when I click that separately on a pop-up screen, I'm going to get an O
Oh,
authorization.
off to log in. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
have to OAuth in and it's asking me what it wants me to do. So I'm going to go ahead and click and accept it. And you should see hopefully this reconnect. And if it turns green, that means that account has been reconnected essentially. Um, and so poor demo today that those aren't connected.
It always happens on the demo, right?
Oh, totally, 100%. Like things breaks all the time. Okay, so here, the work has been done, so that should now turn back to green. And then so everything's now reconnected.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So then there's also your outputs. Outputs turn out to be really funny, right? Like markup and markdown between tools doesn't always work out the right way. So if you've ever done a copy and paste from ChatGPT into like a Word document or a Google Doc, you'll see that it's bolded in ChatGPT. And then depending on which tool that you copy and paste it to, you'll see, double asterisk on both sides of the words. And that's
Yeah.
because the markup to markdown conversion doesn't work really well from tool to tool. And so here I'm giving it also guidelines on when you message
Oh,
Slack,
nice. Okay.
be very aware of the markup that is necessary. So you can give it not only a style guide, but a markup guide.
Ah, smart.
Then if you need any help, you can add this co-pilot, but I feel pretty confident in my ability to build an agent. And so you can see here with the activity, you can see that it's run several times over the last 2 days. This is running the last couple of days here because of the filter. But if I expand the range, it should refresh and show all of the activity. Um, but yeah, I don't know why this isn't refreshing, but that's okay. So you can see that it ran yesterday. So I'll click this and you'll see the chain of thought from the agent.
Oh, that's
Has
cool.
anyone ever explored chain of thought in your show?
No, not in depth.
Cool. Okay. So um, imagine doing a simple math problem with ChatGPT about a year ago. You would ask it to do, if you had 5 apples and you take 2 away, you have 3 apples. If you ask that to an LLM, like, ChatGPT 3, it couldn't get the answer right.
It
The number
wouldn't get it right.
not
Exactly.
there.
Something as simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah, something as simple as that. And then you
Uh,
add another compound question after that, which is, okay, you had 5 apples, you took away 2, now you have 3, and now you've added 2 pairs, right? So it has to store the previous information and then now use that additional context for where it's going next. So that chain of thought is, okay, well, we want to break down complex problems into really simple task. and then string them all together to get to the output that we want. That's called chain of thought. Chain of
Mm.
thought is what are the sequential steps in your thought process that lead you to the result you're looking for. And so you can see that it's taking all of these steps. So let's go, for example, the trigger runs, then it's it's speaking to me, even though I never actually saw this text going to me. And then you
Yeah.
can see it took an action. It found multiple events in my calendar. And then it says it's searching through my emails from yesterday. So it's going to do a filter, but it doesn't show you the filter. If you click
It
on
just
this,
yeah.
yeah, you
Oh,
can see
okay.
this, you see the search string, right? So it
Ah,
knows that the day is 10:10 or 10:9. And then you can see that it's giving the search string. It's using the Google syntax for its search. And I didn't have to code that. If I were to write this agent from scratch using code, I would have to write all these steps
yeah.
in a script. Then you can see here, let me search for Otter.ai, and you can see it's searching for the meeting
Meeting
summary
summary
for.
4, which is what we gave it on the earlier step.
That's
Nice.
exactly it. Then down below, it's taking all these different steps, which is really good. And it hasn't gotten stuck. If it gets stuck, it'll tell you that it's getting stuck, and then it'll reroute and try to find another another optimal path, which is good. You want this to be autonomous, right? Like
Yep.
you tell your intern to do something, they don't come to you for every little thing where they get stuck. They try to plow through it, try to be resourceful. So same
Nice.
thing with the agent. And then you can see here, it has a mixture of my personal calendar, right? School prep, getting my daughter to school, walk
Yeah.
the dog in the afternoon. And then I do write on LinkedIn. So I carefully take time to create.
Nice. Yep.
And down below, it's going to all my transcripts, and then it's coming up with the action summary. So it's sending a message into Slack, and you can see what it sent me. So here's the daily summary for 10/8, and it says that there were there were not a lot of action items except for my RevOps course needs some follow up, and a LinkedIn post needs to be created. Um, and so you can see this is the metadata that it's sending into Slack now.
Uh-huh.
That's the output, which is really nice to audit and see. Then down below, this is the markup that goes into Slack. Like, this is what I received in Slack, which is
Oh,
nice.
nice. I see. Yep.
hmm And that build is not that complicated, right? If we go back to configure, it's your normal body of work that you put into a prompt. You're giving it some tools, and then you can run it, and then you can see the activity. You can do an agent preview. Sorry, let me go back. Agent preview, and then it'll run that chain of thought to the right here, and that's what you're going to see.
Okay. So yeah, you can test it and see what the output's going to be, and then okay, yeah, yeah.
That's exactly it, and that's as simple as that, right? Like if you've
Yep.
seen other agent builds, they're a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
Um, they're also workflow based, right? So you'll see like step 1 to step 2 to step 3, split paths. It has some
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
fork in the road. So this is very different.
Yeah. 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 Just the instructions on the left there seem more in line with what you would generally how you prompt the ChatGPT or yeah, the large language models themselves.
Yeah, it's a chat. It's almost like a chat, right?
Yeah.
So, if you've ever played in ChatGPT Playground, there's also a feature called prompts. Prompts, you can add an MCP, right? You can give it capabilities
Yep.
that it's basically doing the same thing. Zapier has an MCP, not to be another commercial for them, but by giving the MCP of Zapier over to ChatGPT, you're actually by extension giving it access to the other like 7 or 8 thousand tools that Zapier is connected to.
Yeah. Yeah. So you didn't do that though for this one, or did you do that?
No, this
No. Okay.
is just inside of Zapier, right? So yeah, that's I think the really simple thing about Zapier is that they're building all these native functionalities inside the tool itself, which I think could
Yep.
be really helpful. Then if I go back into like the homepage of Zapier, um, you can call agents actually from a Zap, right? So you could embed your agent inside the AI work into one of your workflows and add agentic capabilities. But something they've done recently. So if I look at, if I go into here, I'll just pick a Zap, for example, and you can see that I'm working on like Salesforce records, formatting. These are skills that you've probably seen in N8N or other tools. You do the same thing.
Yeah.
Formatting between tools could be a little wonky, But if you didn't, and this is a human in the loop component here where you asked for
Human in the loop.
approval, that is
Okay.
something new that they just launched in September.
Oh, nice.
But they have AI by Zapier. And instead of, calling ChatGPT and eating your own API credits, you can actually use Zapier's API credits and you can select the model that you want. And it doesn't have
Ah,
just
okay.
OpenAI. They also have Anthropic and Gemini, and then the Azure, which I haven't played with. I've only played with basically just OpenAI and Anthropic, their Claude model.
So when you are using those through Zapier, are you using your Zapier credits?
You're using, that's a good question in terms of the cost.
Because I know sometimes, like Clay, if you hook up your um, ChatGPT through your API key, you're not using your Clay credits. You're using just your a or your ChatGPT credits instead. So I guess it's a balance, right? Like, what do you want to use?
Well, I think there's a total cost of ownership, right?
Yeah,
Associated
yeah,
for each of these workflows. Um, you could build a very large sprawling workflow, depending on the cost model or cost structure of these different tools. And quite frankly, there's a pricing um, paradigm for each one. And so, you select the right one for, your purpose and your budget.
yeah, yeah,
And so, yeah, you have to be really thoughtful. Um, if you're prompting, this about prompting. Prompting will yield you different results if you give it the same prompt and you run it 10 times, you're gonna get 10 different results,
yeah, yeah,
especially if you do not constrain the output. Most folks want like a very basic output, which is binary, yes or no, true or false. Give me low, medium, high for lead scoring, and always make it capital LOW, capital HIGH, right? Like those type of simple things that you want in your workflows. You'd be surprised how many times agents get that wrong.
yeah, yeah.
They
Exactly.
give you a sentence in a paragraph. You're like, no, that's not what I want. I want just the word low.
Yeah. Cool. This is awesome. Yeah, maybe give the audience some other ideas of just some simple places to start. I really like that. Yeah, like executive assistant AI agent that you built. Any other good uses of Zapier where people can pretty easily just get up and running like this?
I would build your own personal agent. I think a lot of folks take it for granted. We all have like personal and professional lives, so personal would be good too, right? Like
Mhm.
look at my calendar, look at what events I have, add like, look up the drive time between my home and the location on the calendar, add an appropriate buffer time for that time of day. Like you can and have it add a calendar.
Mhm.
You can do something like that. That would be a good place to start. Um, Places to learn. I learned through the school of hard knocks, quite frankly.
Yeah, yeah,
So, putzing around with a lot of these tools, spending tons of hours. If you've ever talked to Brandon Short, we make AI look easy.
yeah.
Not because we're like, we have God given talent for AI. It's because we've put in a bunch of time.
Literally, yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's never as easy as, "Oh, I saw this TikTok, let me just go in and do this real quick in 30 seconds." It's,
Yes.
"Oh, you ran into the issue here." But a lot of those things, like, yeah, it's developing the skill to learn how to troubleshoot things because half of this stuff is troubleshooting. And I mean, Brendan's even got some good, like, prompts for troubleshooting certain tools which I love.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, totally. So I did watch a lot of YouTube videos in the beginning to learn like some skills.
mhm,
Um, but I think I've had a unique advantage that I've been a systems administrator for almost a dozen years now in a number of
yeah,
different tools. And then I also wrote Python, right? To like, I can script. So that does help me think systematically like an engineer. Like, okay, well, the output's coming out like this. This might be the reason why it's an error. But start small. Like tools like Zapier could be really good for like the uninitiated and those who want no code, low code options.
mhm,
And those who, and then, and really come prepared with learning how to prompt correctly or tweaking your prompt. And then once you get to the outputs you're looking for, that's a really good scenario where you can change and move to a new use case. And then that same step of, auditing and reviewing your prompts is going to be universal no matter what your use case is.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's a great way to do it. Start small, continue to add little things here and there. Don't start with the craziest, biggest build that you saw someone do on
No,
YouTube or
actually,
whatever.
those large builds that I see on LinkedIn, like 80 steps. Imagine one of those steps break. And
Exactly.
it's like piping inside your house. You have to go fix one specific pipe, actually in a building, and then now you have to send in a surgical repair person to go and fix it. That's the total cost of ownership for these workflows. In my opinion, the simpler the better.
Yep.
If you can build simply.
Yep. Love it. Awesome. Well, thanks, Jeff. You ready for the lightning round?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. All right. What's your current AI tech stack right now?
You want to come in with an LLM? So I typically will use OpenAI. I'll use Claude for like writing.
Mhm.
I will use ChatGPT for general purpose. I use the AI by Zapier because I do build a lot inside of Zapier.
Very good.
Also Claygent. I use Clay's,
Nice.
a lot of
Yes.
Clay's new features. Sculptor, Claygent. Those are the two main features that I've been using.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been playing around with Sculptor a lot myself lately. Which I know they're still working on, but I mean, I, I think it's very helpful, especially for people just getting started, right?
Yeah. It's an interesting dynamic, right? Because, they have a whole cottage industry of clay agencies. And the whole premise of a clay agency is we can do it for you because we have the expertise, right? Instead of you know, burning a ton of credits accidentally, bring in an expert, but then you bring in Sculptor comes in and actually builds it for you, right? That gets you over that initial technical barrier of building.
Yeah, yeah, and they're also doing things like rolling out light sandbox. I don't know if I'd really call it I mean, sandbox for the purpose of just trying to test things and again, not burn through your credits. So, yeah, definitely love all the things that Clay is doing there too. So, okay, cool. Where do you go to keep up with the latest? Like, there's always everything coming out. Where do you go to keep up with everything in AI?
Yeah, so I try to build one skill every week. This is kind of
Mm,
like my goal. I have a number of different revenue operations projects right now that I've been working on that have an embedded AI component. And so the reason I'm embedding like even a small featurette as opposed to a full blown like workflow completely built in AI, it's to just keep my skill sharp, right?
yeah.
And I will watch like a how to YouTube video here and there, and then I also challenge myself to create like AI content on both LinkedIn and my Substack, so that I can keep up personally.
Yeah, yeah, that's honestly been one of the top reasons I'm doing that as well on Substack and LinkedIn is I just got to keep myself sharp. Like I got to keep myself accountable.
Yes,
It's a good way to do
totally, totally. I mean, my profession might change from revenue operations to like AI operations one of these days.
it. Yeah, for sure. Right. Easily. Okay. Last question. What's your biggest challenge with AI?
The biggest challenge with AI, there's a number of different things. One is, when an AI workflow breaks or an agent breaks, I don't often get like a signal or a debug. So it's like, hey, something went wrong. And then I need to go back in and check, right? So there's like entropy in some of these systems. If you leave it untouched for some time, something's going to break actually. So it does require like constant engineering. I would imagine one day you'd have like a service bot that would go out and detect that it's not working and then repair it for you without you intervention.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't be asleep at the wheel, just like leave an agent, have it do everything for you, and then you just step away. Like you still, unfortunately, at this point in time, have to come back and just check that thing's working.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's the other thing a lot of content creators maybe mislead on a little bit is a lot of the stuff is just quickly, easily build it and it runs by itself. It's like, it's never one that easy to build, and two, it never just runs by itself like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, let's say for example, you build something in a previous model, and that model has been deprecated or no longer serviced, right? So then the underlying output of what you're looking for is actually broken. So that could be one thing. Another thing is you might have created a workflow with like 8 different steps, and one of the services in that step broke. And so now your workflow is broken, and you have to go back in and figure out why.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Well, awesome, Jeff. It's been awesome having you on the show. Really appreciate it. Where can people learn more about you, follow you, listen to your podcast, follow your newsletter, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, I appreciate you, one, allowing me to get technical and really detailed. A lot of times when I'm on the podcast, I go through thought leadership. So this is very different. So appreciate you for that. But you can follow me on my Substack. It's revengine.substack.com. That's the Revenue Operations Impact newsletter. And then you can also follow me on LinkedIn, Jeff Ignacio. That's linkedin.com. Follow the slug and then Jeff Be the Change.
Love it. I love it. And yeah, big fan of the newsletter. Obviously, I've been a fan for a while. I've been at companies before where I had to go sponsor your newsletter. I'm that big of a fan of it, and obviously follow it pretty closely these days still too. So appreciate all the work that you're doing, and appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks, Brandon. Best of luck.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks.